This game is totally wild. It's set in the liminal halls of an infinitely massive government agency, full of giant monsters made out of things like sticky notes, a ventilation system powered by jet engines, rooms with low gravity, and toxic mold so thick that you can't even see the walls. It's called FBC Firebreak, and its latest update is Fire. Well, Fire and Mold. It's a co-op shooter that puts you in the shoes of an agent working for the Federal Bureau of Control. Your job is to contain paranormal activity outbreaks within the oldest house, aka FBC's headquarters. In one mission you'll be fighting a giant monster made out of sticky notes. In another you'll be trying to clear out poisonous mold while under the effects of low gravity. The experience is an absolute trip the whole way through, and today we're taking a deeper look at their first major update for the game called Breakpoint. This highly anticipated update for the game makes substantial overhauls to the mission system, adding a new outbreak event with new enemies and objectives, plus 3 new guns, a progression overhaul, new quality of life features, gun mods, cosmetics, and more. It's also 40% off, and you can grab FBC Firebreak using my link below. I want to give a big thank you to Remedy for sponsoring this video and inviting me to play their new update. I had a fantastic time playing through this content, and frankly, there is a ton of it. Now, if you missed FBC Firebreak's launch earlier this year, well, the game is an objective-based survival experience where you pick a crisis, aka a mission, to tackle by yourself or with a duo or a party of 3. And these crises come in several varieties, like a sticky note outbreak, the new mold outbreak that they added with the update, plus a bunch of others like an indoor ski lift that's gone berserk, and the building's heating system going haywire and shooting jets of fire out of massive ventilation fans. And stopping these bizarre crises typically involves a few equally weird sequences, like loading up a train car with radioactive spores to fuel a rocket launch. And along the way, the levels will throw waves of enemies called hiss at you that have a variety of paranormal abilities. Some float around and snipe you from a distance. Others are like FBC agents that have turned into hiss and they use guns. There's also corrupted items that act like mutators in some crises and do things like buffing enemy armor or messing with the lights in a level. Now, this Breakpoint update looks like it was built around player feedback, and it really addresses some big things. The new crisis board replaces the previous job board with curated missions that have randomized modifiers and rewards. Basically, it's just way easier to get into a crisis of your choosing. The new Outbreak crisis is also quite extensive with a lot of new submissions and mechanics. But what makes this game stand out from others in this genre is just it's got this incredible heart and soul. The atmosphere, character design, weapons, everything about Firebreak is just dripping with that iconic Control style. The architecture throughout the levels bounces between this sort of eerie liminal hallway space and brutalist office areas with warmly lit cubicles and oppressively sterile bathrooms. The lighting can also dramatically transform the spaces. Most levels start off pretty dark to the point that you can barely see a few feet in front of you. It creates this dramatic tension that you don't often see in multiplayer games, since visibility is often more important than the atmosphere itself. And when the hiss starts spawning in, their red glow is like an emergency flare lighting up these dark hallways. It's definitely one of those games where stopping and taking a look to appreciate the scenery just reveals a wealth of detail, texture fidelity, and layers of environmental storytelling. Now, I'll admit that I was a little worried when jumping into this update, thinking I might be a little behind the curve and at a disadvantage compared to experienced players. But that really wasn't the case, as leveling up is pretty quick and I was able to hang in with the higher level players just fine. And one of Firebreak's real strengths here is just how accessible it is on the surface. There's tons of fun, small gameplay mechanics and details that reward you for experimenting and learning more, but it's very easy to just pick up and start playing. But the more you play, the more cool hidden mechanics you'll discover. There's some obvious stuff like being able to attach mission items to zip lines for quickly moving them to a central location and using sprinklers to put out fires instead of doing the QuickTime event for it. But then there's deeper class mechanics like using the splash kit to wet an enemy and using the jump kit to shock them into a weakened state where they take more damage. And really, the moment-to-moment gameplay is built around synergizing your party's loadouts, using one class to quickly change an ammo station while a different class uses their repair ability to get it functional. Now, there's 3 classes to pick from, each with their own abilities, but all the weapons and perks are universal. And the classes specialize in core aspects of the game mechanics. The Fix-It kit is built around quickly repairing broken machines. The Jump kit is intended to power things up, and the Splash kit is built for healing. Now, personally, I've really been liking the Fix-It class that lets you hit things with a sledgehammer to repair them. It gets a cannon turret, and it also gets a piggy bank ability for the sledgehammer that does massive area effect damage. Some of my favorite moments while playing were unlocking the next sector of a crisis and equipping my piggy bank to absolutely obliterate the initial wave of enemies in a new area. I also had a few rounds where there was multiple people in my party playing the Fix-It class, and combined we were able to set up like 8 turrets in one spot. It was kind of epic, and of course they ended up doing more damage to themselves than the enemies, which is one thing you will have to be careful with in Firebreak, as it does have friendly fire, and if you're not careful you can immediately destroy friendly gadgets. Things like the boombox lure gadget that you get while playing the Jump kit can be incredibly powerful, but it can also be very easy to accidentally blow it up with a grenade. That said, when everybody's on the same page and being aware of each other's abilities and gadgets, you can absolutely tear through waves of enemies. The Jump kit can also deploy a magical gnome that does insane area effect damage. Before I knew what it was, I thought it was an enemy because it absolutely murdered everything around it, including my health bar. What's nice is that you can actually select multiple difficulty levels for every crisis, so if there's one that you find too easy or too hard, you can scale the difficulty down or up. Now when it comes to weapons, there's 3 classes with 3 options each, and it's fairly straightforward. There's shotguns, machine guns, and precision weapons. For me, the shotguns were so insanely satisfying to use that once I started using them, I couldn't really go back to anything else. Every shot sends enemies just flying, and when you combine that with a weapon mod like one that has a chance to shock enemies with chain lightning, it just becomes pure satisfaction. It might honestly be some of the most satisfying shotgun gameplay that I've ever experienced, and I'm actually pretty excited to eventually unlock the new scatter shotgun that seems like a burst fire shotgun. Now all in all, I'm really impressed with FBC Firebreak. I heard that the launch was a little bit rough around the edges when it first came out, but the devs have been really communicative on this front, and they've made basically all the right changes as far as I can tell, updating the game to solve any of the concerns that the players were raising. Firebreak really does seem like one of those labor of love games. It's too weird for it not to be, and it's clear that the devs care about its quality and they want to make sure it lives up to the standards that players have set for it. I want to thank Remedy again for sponsoring this video and inviting me in to play their update. I think they've done incredible work here. Once again, if you want to check out the game for yourself, click the link in the video description. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.